Scott's had a couple of beers in him. Jeff runs our video, so you can guys check all of that out at thegritcitypodcast.com. I don't know why I'm still talking into the microphone, but I mean, it works. It's because we've had a ton of beers.
Hey Jeff,
What, I got a slide, what?
oh, you're so cute sometimes. At some point, my old lady's gonna want to be let in. Can I?
I'll let her in.
Yeah.
Okay. We're live streaming. You're talking euphemistically about violating his poor wife.
Door for wife's, Scott's lovely wife.
That's cool. Yeah, we'll let it talk. I turned off the microphone.
Look at this.
We're professional. Get
Since
up.
Director John Klein couldn't make it, we're just gonna have our poster boards.
So, John, what do you have to say? Oh, excellent. Perfect. Awesome. We'll find some sound clips online and then just intersperse
All of
them.
our followers have seen this poster board travel all over the country.
Exciting.
That is the same poster board we just traveled with from Arizona to New York.
Oh yeah, we're gonna bring that up.
Oh yeah.
Love that.
Put a sticker on the back of it.
To show that it's been here. Yeah.
That's a really good idea. We should start. We got to start tagging
You
it.
don't want to mess up the front because you're using it.
Because it's beautiful.
So cool.
Grit City Podcast approved.
Is it approved?
It's approved. Are we about ready? I think we are. So yeah, you got the mic there. You got the headphones. Your headphone volume number 2, I believe. So that should work for you. And that's green. Green's up there. Blue. I gotta turn you up there.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Now that I actually,
Can you hear me, Justin?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're creepy.
Can you hear me?
How many beers have you had?
All of them.
I drink them all.
You drink. Oh, now you're onto the
2.
cider. You drank all the beers. Now you're onto the cider.
I started with cider.
You did start with cider.
I just tested some beers.
You tested the
Right.
beers.
Well, I started with cider, and because I was going to finish with cider, and then I tested some beers in between the 2 ciders.
You're a train wreck.
Yeah,
I love it.
Whatever.
Yeah, pull that even like yes, closer to you. So when you're talking into it.
Perfect.
There we go. You're green.
How am I sounding? All right.
There you go.
Good.
And Jeff just threw everything on the floor.
Whoa.
Oh man, that's his phone. Don't break his phone, dude.
Dude.
Ah.
Our poor listeners at home.
I know everyone. I hope no one's looking too close at that and saying they just got a little seasick or I don't know. I get motion sick really easy, so that ain't gonna work out for me.
We're asking the guy to really multitask over here, so
Run the live.
cut him
feed.
some slack. Cut him some slack.
I love this. I think we're ready. Are we ready?
I'm ready, dude.
All right.
Let's do this.
Welcome to the Grit City Podcast. I am Justin.
I'm Scott.
I'm Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey.
No Brogan today because, again, he is up at Wizards Keep Games making nerd dreams come true.
Slacker.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he has to run his own business, and I'm sure he has plenty of employees, but he decided not to hang out with us and drink beer. And so
Boo.
with us today, not necessarily in his place, but, well, I mean, is in his place. We got Scott Weil. Scott, you are a big LA producer, aren't you?
Certainly not big, but I'm a producer.
We're going to talk about the project that you are touring here, and actually it'll be happening this Friday at the Blue Mouse Theater. We want to make sure and let everyone know about this right now because there's a big international presence with this movie, but we want to make sure and push you guys to go see it at the Blue Mouse, which is a local Tacoma theater, and we're going to get to that in a minute, but we want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you for sending us your emails, your information. We're getting a bunch of emails now, which is kind of fun. If you've got somebody who you think is going to be good for the Grit City Podcast, get us an email at info@gritcitypodcast.com, and obviously gritcitypodcast.com is where you can find all of our stuff.
Are they fun, Justin? Because I get a lot of emails that I don't want.
Oh,
I'm just
yeah,
saying.
we do have the spam filter that usually gets some of those, but we get some good feedback from people. Or
No, we do.
And people who are interested in actually maybe coming onto the show. So shout out to all of those people, some of our guests previously and in the future who have just literally got a hold of us by info@gritcitypodcast.com.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. I mean, it's easy. Yeah, we're right there. We read them
Yeah.
all, right? Like,
We do, actually. We do read them all, and then we
Yeah.
talk amongst ourselves and
Yeah.
see if we're going to respond or not.
yeah, then you don't have to bother me at the bar. You just ignore me at the bar and just email me.
And if
'Cause
you
that works perfectly.
And if you want to support us, one thing you can do also is our Patreon, which is just patreon.com/GritCityPodcast. $4 a month helps us out all the way up to our business tier, which apparently currently is now open, completely
is.
open.
It's
So if
all
people want
open.
to have us talk about some of the awesome projects you're doing, if you've got a good business, we can always use your money.
Well, it's the easiest way to get an ad. Like,
Yeah.
we're not going to walk around and sell it to you, but, like, it's the easiest way to come get it.
I guess it's just because we're super lazy when it comes down to that.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, if we worked really hard, but this is us chilling out, so I think that's the most fun part about all of it. I'm saying fun a lot, aren't I?
'Cause
Now
you're
you
a
got it in my brain, dude.
you're a
You
fun guy.
motherfucker. Oh, I'm a mushroom. Fun guy.
Oh,
All right,
that was
so
bad.
yeah, that was really terrible. So
Boo.
let's just move on to Scott now.
I think that's a perfect segment. Fungus to Once Upon a Superhero just works. So go with it.
Exactly. So first, let's talk a little bit about Once Upon a Superhero. Tell us the straight pitch for this movie at this point.
The film is about a self-proclaimed superhero who goes by the name of Solar Flare, who has been exiled to Earth without his superpowers for 189 days.
Oh.
And as he meets the underbelly of Hollywood, he goes into a self...
Loathing. By looking at the trailers and just seeing the little bit of the depression he's dealing with, having lost his powers and having to deal with the doldrums of society at this point, he was a little down on his dumps.
Yeah, he upon meeting the underbelly of LA, he spirals into a loss of self as he awaits the return of his superpowers.
Oh
Yes.
man, and that's the worst part too. If you just think about that, it's like I'm here for this amount of time, and I'm not gonna have my superpowers. I'll get them eventually, but I got to deal with all of this BS, and it's kind of it's interesting. Also, just dealing with the Hollywood situation at that point too, because it's down in LA.
Well, what's really interesting is some of the people that have seen the film always come up to us and are like, wow, it just nailed the grit and the feel of Hollywood itself. And so, yeah, that part really succeeds.
And like I was talking about, this is going to be premiering at the Blue Mouse Theater. Now, this is going to be happening Friday, May 10th, so it's just in a couple of days. So make sure, and we got a lot of people that do these straight-up fresh downloads right away. If this is something you're interested in, and I really do think you are, because first off, I love the cinematography just on the trailer. Like, I'm really excited to go see this. But you can do so Friday, May 10th, Once Upon a Superhero at the Blue Mouse Theater. You can get all the information at bluemousetheater.com. And
Oh, I was just going to fix his mic.
oh,
Here, let me just get that closer for you. There. Just pull that up straight
Got it?
towards you. Yeah.
Perfect.
Is that close enough?
Mm-hmm.
Let's feel comfortable. How's that?
Thank you.
Cool. There you go. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no worries. So we got
Good.
it.
Write that down.
I did. So this is happening at the Blue Mouse Theater, and tickets and information are available at bluemousetheater.com, 10 p.m. Friday, May 10th. And you guys are going to be in attendance to do Q&A as well, right?
Yeah, John and I will be there to present the movie and take some questions after. The lead actor, unfortunately, can't make it up here, but Adam is from the Tacoma area.
Oh, wow. Okay,
So
cool. I
hopefully
love that.
too, yeah, for sure. Hopefully people will come out even for that, because Solar Flare should be the official superhero of the Northwest, we've decided.
I enjoy that. I enjoy that too, because the Pacific Northwest does have a superhero legacy. We had the Rain City superhero movement, led by Phoenix Jones. I don't know if you know about Phoenix Jones, but he was essentially an MMA fighter turn costume superhero. And it was one of those really he's a really cool kid, but at the same point that sort of thing kind of burns a guy out. And I kind of see a little bit of the parallel even right here with like Solar Flare as well. Fortunately or unfortunately for Phoenix, Solar Flare is going to be getting his powers back eventually. Maybe we'll have to see. People are going to have to check out this movie. But there's I love the fact that when we were talking about this and you were talking back and forth with Scott about this movie, is that this was all done pretty much guerrilla style in terms of making the film. How was the process of this? Because this was not a short process. This how many years did this movie come to be or take to be?
It took 6 years plus.
Damn.
The director, writer, director, producer, John Klein, and myself shared an apartment in Hollywood. We made the movie out of our apartment, which sits about, for your viewer's perspective, like 3 blocks from the epicenter of the cosplay movement on Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay, yeah.
So, in John's random daily interactions of going to the gym, which sits right in the middle of this, started the process and idea of the script, which was a little different than originally, but wrapped itself around to what it became today.
That is really cool.
That is funny. So
just getting back, the movie was made for 6+ years out of the apartment, and we did it with no permits, no budget, and no rules.
So when you're doing something like that, is it literally just like blocking out a scene, realizing you know where you want to be, and then just running out there and doing it really quick? Because I have to imagine trying to do something like that in Tacoma or like somewhere like off in the boonies or something like that, it's going to be immensely easier than doing it down on a street in Hollywood. It's got to be kind of crazy at that point.
You would actually be pretty surprised because there's so much cameras already down there and so many people filming in many different ways. We were strategic about how we did things. Our sound guy would be in a certain place and the actors would, and we would only have the crew that was needed.
Mm-hmm.
And technically with what we had, being a skeletal crew, we can get away anyway legally, and a lot of times cops would wave to us, and we might have like 6 people out there, but there would only be 3 visible.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
We had a sound guy who had like a little older guy and had this, he looked like an old vet. And so we used to have him carry around the thing, so he kind of came off like a homeless guy, but the mic was hanging out of the back.
That's great. No, I mean, it's just like try to be a little inconspicuous with it. I love it.
Yeah, that sounds like the Bowfinger movie. That is excellent. Have you ever seen that with Steve Martin and
Good call, good
Eddie
call.
Murphy?
Yeah.
Awesome. Talk about guerrilla photography, man. That's awesome.
Well, and that's one of those things. I mean, even with like what we're doing here, I mean, it's like we're in the middle of the Union Club, but it's like this is not a recording studio. It's a very living room feel, but we have all our gear and we can just plop it down here. And we've been having to do that. I mean, we'll record at different areas in here depending. We don't want to interfere with anybody else doing their stuff. So at that same point now, we're like, okay, cool, yeah, we'll just be up here up on the 3rd floor and hopefully won't annoy anybody. Or now we're down in the basement dealing like in the event center, but it's just that sort of the same thing. It's you do what you need to do to get the shots or to get the audio or to get the stuff. It's got to be kind of exhilarating for you on that point.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and it was challenging, but it was, there was an excitement to it each time we went out there. And Adam would come and put in the costume, and we would apply the dirt and all the stuff that went with it, and the costume aged very naturally.
Yeah.
So it was just a really organic process, and just came together really nice. Just like the studio you guys have. I'm sure
it
each
right?
time
Yeah.
it sounds like you guys take an organic approach to where you want to set up. And if our viewers on the Instagram, if they could see the view in the back here at Tacoma.
Oh my God, it's
beautiful,
so
beautiful. And I got to say, like, John and I have been on a few podcasts now, but this is the first one where I've been served beer. So I appreciate that a lot.
See,
Like, I'm a real appreciative of that.
We try to do that with everyone. We'll get some of the local beers or just whatever we're happy with at that same point.
Salute.
There you go. And we try to make it very inviting for everyone. We're chilling out. We're having fun. It's a Sunday afternoon where a lot of people would probably rather be outdoors. So
That's
sometimes
true.
we got to ply them with
nice
Puget Sound
beer.
Pizza
I'm doing good.
and some beer. So yeah, I mean, I think
I
more
just
podcasts
drove.
need
I
to do
just
that.
drove from LA too. So
Holy
I got
shit,
in. I got
dude.
in this morning. I drove from LA. So this beer is coming in beautiful.
Wow.
I haven't had a beer in 2 days, so I was about to go into shakes.
So like literally like so you road tripped all the way from LA. Are you rolling solo at that point? Because that's a lonely drive. I've done that, and it I don't want to say it sucks because it's very beautiful, but there's just some places where it's just there's nothing else going on, and you're just kind of stuck there with your thoughts.
I enjoy it. It gives
Nice.
me time to kind of process and think about things, think about projects, think about a lot of things pop into my head. I'll put notes in my phone. I wish
Nice.
my dogs were with me, but
I feel
that's the only other company I could use. But outside that, I'm fine being alone. It's all good.
Now, this has been 6 years coming. It's got to be kind of a bit of a relief to be able to be going around and showing this movie off, I would imagine.
You know, it's just another part of the process to me.
Okay.
Pre-production was a process. Production was a process. Post-production was a process. And now it being out in the world is its own process. And going through each phase requires different things, requires a different refocus and a reshuffling of things and an understanding, because each phase we went through is the first time we're going through it. This is the first feature for John and myself. So, you know, us going through the process, it's very...
That's got to be a hell of a learning experience for each one then at that point too.
Well, you know, like I tell any film school student, you're better off doing what we did than sitting in film school for 4 years, because you're going to learn things at 600 times. You know, to me, it was like getting a master's in producing.
Like when you're going to school, you're learning essentially about the theory of what these things are, but then you're not going to understand what can...
The doing.
Yeah, exactly, and what can go wrong at that point, because I have to imagine even with, with 6 years, there had to have been plenty that went wrong for you to figure out.
Well, you know what's interesting is there were like 3 or 4 different like catastrophic things that happened during the process, where at the time it was like, oh my God,
how are we going to
know,
even go
yeah,
on
and, you
sort of
know,
stuff? Yeah.
It was all parts of things that contributed to it taking as long as it did.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, when you can look back, you realize it was all meant for a reason, and they all turned out for better reasons that made it a better final product.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So just one example of one of those things. I mean, you don't have to get into super detail at that point, but was it like losing footage or losing an actor or something like that?
Yeah, like
or?
for instance, there was an actor that didn't work out at one point, but at that time, it gave John some time as we were recasting the role, and he went back and made an adjustment in the script, which really brought it around full circle in a different way that wasn't there before.
That's cool.
And had we filmed it the original way, I don't think it would have, I'm sure it would have been fine, and that would have been the way the universe meant it, but clearly this was the way it was really meant.
And that's kind of an interesting point to put at that. Like, if you get these sort of roadblocks or even catastrophic events that you're talking about, that it's helping guide it into the thing that it was meant to be. And it's sometimes it's hard for people to wrap their heads around that, especially if it's going off on a path that you don't necessarily or have not envisioned it to be. And then you're like, okay, I've got to realize now that this is what it's supposed to be, or what we want it to, or what itself wants to be put out there as. Which kind of sounds a little hippie,
What
but
did you say?
I know.
Could you say
No,
that
but you know what?
again?
Ultimately, it's a good life lesson,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
not just filmmaking. It's anything that you do in life.
That's
you know?
what I was going to say.
It's not a mistake. It's a process.
yeah,
Yep.
there you
And
go.
it's all part of the never-ending evolution that you go through from when you start to finish.
See, that's what I was trying to say.
It's
there.
just life in general, though. Like you even in just normal everyday life, right? Like you look at buying a house, right? You go to buy a house, and you get about a quarter of the way through, and then all of a sudden something comes up, and you're like, oh shit, now we have to get this inspected, right?
Yeah.
It's with everything. You're gonna have these little roadblocks along the way, these little things that go wrong, and you need to be able to recover and do them if you want to do anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can always just say, "Oh, I'm gonna play video games too." I'm down with that.
I know.
Just drink some beer, get super ripped.
Yeah.
I think somewhere along the process, I said, you know what? I'm going to stop swimming against the stream and just flow with it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good
right.
call on that. I love that. And so, again, like we were talking about, this is happening this Friday, May 10th at the Blue Mouse Theater, bluemousetheater.com. But people can find out more information by going to onceuponasuperhero.com.
Yep, and our Instagram is at Once Upon a Superhero the Movie. We're always posting, always updating, and bringing new things in.
Oh, it's Scott's way.
Damn it! She just interrupted the podcast. She wasn't supposed to. Stop it.
I think she heard about Once Upon a Superhero and wanted to hear more about
She
it.
wanted to see the big old poster that you can only see on our live stream. So people have to check that out as well. But you can find out, like with the Instagram, you guys have been actually traveling internationally to show this movie. You went to Canada, correct?
Yeah, we
International.
Ooh,
Yeah,
good
see,
job. I
the
like how you did that.
caveat.
Good job, you.
we went to Edmonton a few months back. Played the Garnow Theater up there. Had a great time.
Nice. So how has the experience been showing this off at different film fests and the like?
It's been awesome.
Really?
You know, yeah, it's it's such a mixed bag when you're putting something out that nobody has heard of,
Mm-hmm.
and that does not give a lot away.
Yeah.
You know, it's challenging. It's a little bit different, and you know, like the Avengers is out.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, and
Oh,
here
yeah.
you come. You have the Avengers playing in every theater. You could go see it. My point is, you can go see that any time of day for weeks in a row.
Absolutely.
When we play, we're playing in a city, maybe 1-2 shows.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you have, and not everybody could be there that one time, you know, and it's just a matter of, but those people that are there are connecting with it.
Yeah.
And they're really digging it, and they're digging the originality of it.
That's fun.
And the freshness that it brings to the conversation. We hear all the time, oh my God, that's like a superhero movie that I didn't even know I wanted and I needed in my life. Like, you
because
know,
yeah, at this point, literally for the last 10 years, superhero movies have been at the absolute forefront of Hollywood cinema, because they've realized that it makes a lot of money, especially these big bombastic things. But if you can kind of distill it down to, like you're saying, the gritty aspects of it, it turns it into, yeah, this is maybe a thing you're expecting, but then we're just going to turn it on its head. And I think that's the beauty of it. I really do.
oh, we hear all the time. People are like, you know, I looked at the trailer. I didn't know what to expect. And it was like, it was so much different than what I thought it was. And it was so much like, I so much better than I even, you know, realized or knew coming in. And we hear that a lot. And I get a lot of messages when we leave cities. And people will be like, when can I see that movie again? I can't get it out of my head.
That's
I
cool.
want to see that.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah, that's when you make
you know,
round 2, right?
When
You
is it
come
going to be
back.
out? Yeah, no, we're going to definitely do encore shows. You know,
Yeah.
we're when we leave this tour we are doing Spokane. We're starting in Spokane next Friday, and then we're going to Portland, then Bellingham, Vancouver,
Wow.
down
okay.
to Tacoma, and then Corvallis.
Oh wow! So yeah, you're just getting the Pacific Northwest and getting all of those different
Yeah,
little
so
aspects.
we got 6 shows coming up in the next 2 weeks out here, and then we're going to go back east. And we got a
Nice.
series of shows. We've been out east a couple of times. We're going to be premiering in VT and a few other places. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
That's really exciting, and people can follow it like we just said. OnceUponASuperhero.com. We'll have all of those different things on there. Do you plan on doing like a digital release at some point, or is that in the pipeline, or are you just trying to build the groundswell at this point?
You know, a little bit of both.
Okay.
We're taking our time with it. It's a film, like the cinematography, like you mentioned, is beautiful.
It is. It's really like, I mean, when we were first prefaced it with is like, oh, we shot it out of our apartment sort of thing. You really don't know what to expect.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, you got me with the you know, our guy is from Tacoma, and then we did it all underground. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna look into this. And
Yeah.
when I watched the preview that you sent us, I was like, all right, if the movie has anything like this preview, it's gonna be badass. So.
And that's and that's the fun part about it too, because like the cinematography is just it's really good.
Well, I'm gonna highlight 2 people right here for your audience. Our
Nice.
cinematographer is Matt Louie.
Okay.
The film won Best Cinematography at a recent festival too.
Wow, nice.
And one of the reasons why we wanted to keep it exclusive in theaters is because it brings back an experience of watching a movie together with people.
That's a really good point.
It's a film that is going to make people uncomfortable in certain points and make people squirm a little bit and maybe bring out different emotions that they might not normally sit through in a regular film.
Mm-hmm.
And we went out to we set out to push the boundaries of independent filmmaking, and we wanted to do something completely different and groundbreaking in every possible way, and not just do another run of the mill.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to point out is Tacoma native Adam Marcinowski, who played Solar Flare.
Nice.
And this is a phenomenal story. Not only did this, you know, his performance in the movie is just almost understated because there's so much wildness around his character. It almost, you know, drifts under the radar how amazing he is. But we continued, and you guys might dig this, we thought the movie was coming out a little earlier at the time. Even when we were done filming, he continued to come and put the costume on in any of his spare time.
Wow.
And walk the streets of Hollywood. And we were built this pre-buzz
Oh,
of whether
that is
this
killer.
person is real or not. So,
I
you know,
love that.
Adam personally took performance art to the next level in the opinion of us.
You kind of took ownership of the character. I love that.
Beyond ownership.
Fantastic.
You know what's
I love
funny
that.
is Adam was
Yeah.
always meant to play this thing. You know, it was his part. He was born to do it. It was his role. We never even casted for it.
You
stepped
just
in.
knew.
And
How'd you end up meeting up with him then?
that was actually a really random story. He was. We were doing a different movie that we didn't wind up making.
Oh wow, okay.
We had brought this other movie to the 11th hour, and we pulled the plug last second. It just wasn't right. And but at that time, when we were casting that, somebody, an actress, had come up to me and like, I want you to meet my friend. I think he'd be perfect for this role. I went to meet him. He was not right for it at all.
Yeah.
But the guy emceeing the event was Adam.
Oh.
And
Damn, I thought you were dropping like this actress, and Adam was just out there just slinging it around L.A. Right? But no. That guy sucked, and instead the DJ, he's badass.
No, he wasn't a DJ. He wasn't a
Oh,
DJ.
sorry.
He was. It was a shoot, I forget. It was like a sketch comedy. But
Oh, okay.
He was emceeing
I'm
it.
seeing it. Okay.
And when I looked, he's a big guy. He's like 6'5". He actually
Yeah.
played football at University of Washington.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe he was
wow.
a tight end, if I remember correct. So, here's this guy. He looked like a superhero. And it's funny because this was before this movie was on my radar, but I made an immediate mental note.
Yeah.
And he had this great voice. Adam has an amazing voice. And I called him in to read for that film.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't right for that in
Yeah.
particular, that part. But we kept a note, and as soon as John had brought this script up, it was like Adam right away.
Yeah.
We he had the superhero look, and it just worked out perfectly.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's just like one of those things that we always really try to talk about with Tacoma and the artists around there. It's like you never know who you're going to end up collaborating with wherever you're at, and it's one of those things. Keep a note, and it's just like maybe they don't work for this project that you're doing now, but eventually, if there's someone like that, they'll be able to get into that and figure that out.
Well, hey, SeaTac natives, you should be out there supporting your boy
Right?
Adam. Come out to the Blue
Yeah.
Mouse next Friday because you're not going to want to miss this. I promise you that.
And I love that because you're talking about doing those theatrical experiences, and it's because everybody has their home theater where they're watching it by themselves, or maybe with their loved ones, or their dogs, or their cats, or anything like that. But when you go and you have that theater experience, and you're getting the room, the vibe of the room, the emotions of the room. So one of my favorite notes of this is going to go see a horror movie. One of the first things I want to do is I want to make sure and go on the opening, if I'm really interested in it, going the opening weekend with a full house, because a lot of
You
the
want to
times,
experience it.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
a lot of times
right
the
there.
room tension it makes the movie that much better.
Right, before people have heard the spoilers, before they know what's going to
Yeah.
happen, there's tension there, right?
Yeah.
A week later, after everybody kind of knows what's going on, there's no tension. They're like, oh, I know how it ends. He snaps his fingers, everybody turns to dust, dude. It's no big deal, right?
Spoilers
I know,
for a
right?
year. I know, yeah,
I
whatever.
don't, what movie was that from?
I don't know.
know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, it builds that up.
Have another beer.
I will.
And it's one of those things where I think that I don't necessarily think the theatrical experience is going away, but I think that you want to make
Never take
steps-
that for granted, though. You know what I
It's a
mean?
good point,
It's changed a
yeah.
lot. Don't take that. The art house theaters, if people are not out there, and that goes for our Once Upon a Superhero audience, support your local art
Yeah.
house theaters, guys. Get on out there because they're really important. They support Once Upon a Superhero, and if not places like the Blue Mouse here in Tacoma, we wouldn't have places to play.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
that being said, it goes back to our conversation of the universe.
Yeah.
And it pushes things in the right direction. But no, art house theater is something we take very seriously. We're extremely appreciative of the people out there, and we don't take it for granted. And we're not just out there to support Once Upon a Superhero, but support the cinematic revolution and keeping that alive, because a world of just Hollywood big budget superhero movies is kind of, I think that's a scary slope to go down.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with a lot of these. I mean, back in the day, it was westerns were the biggest things, and then they just
That's incredibly funny that
Dissipate.
you brought that up. One of the things that we call this film, not that we call it, we compare it to. In the late 60s, you had all of these westerns.
Oh,
Clint
yeah,
Eastwood,
yeah,
John
yeah,
Wayne,
yeah.
Clint- And what did Hollywood do? They killed the western. And now you don't see it anywhere. And what are they doing right now to the superhero movies? Superhero.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
right
yeah.
now it's not in danger, but you can only beat something and do the same thing over and over to a certain point.
The fatigue is going to happen.
Yeah,
And it was that same thing. I mean, there were a couple of westerns in the 90s, and then recently we had like the remake of The Magnificent Seven, which was fine, but also you should also just go back and watch the original Magnificent Seven because it's fantastic, or just go watch The Seven Samurai too, but that's just me getting weird.
I think you'll like a specific line in Once Upon a Superhero
Really?
based on what you just said. Yeah.
I love this. This is
it's
really
it's a
exciting.
straight fuck you to all that. And you know why do something that was redo something that was done perfectly the first time.
And that's one of those things that's like it just seems always like that Hollywood machine. So I love the fact that you're not necessarily a part of it, but you're going along with it. But it's again.
Can I tell you a semi-secret?
Yeah.
This movie is our fuck you to Hollywood.
Nice. And I love that too because
And
you
you will see it. And
Yeah.
if you go watch the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
perfect. And that's one of those things because it's like, yeah, I'm going to play within what you have as a construct, but I'm going to, essentially say fuck you to your rules, and I'm going to do it that way. And that's really, I mean, that's what embodies what we do here, and especially with what we love to talk about with the Grid City Podcast. It's that sort of thing. So have it being local, but also that same vibe. Like you can have that vibe wherever you're at, be it LA, be it Hollywood, be it up here, be it anywhere else. So I really respect that.
One of my favorite stories after the screen, talking about screening the film over the last few months, this guy came running out to me. We were playing the show. Wasn't particularly well attended, this one. It finished. I walk outside. He chases me outside. And he's like, dude, I'm a film school student for like 5 years. You guys broke every single rule my professor told me we could never do. And he's like, I'm just completely blown away. That was incredible. He's like, I can't believe this place was not sold out.
And that's one of those things, like, again, you're building that groundswell, and you want to get those people to talk about these things and get the grassroots movement, because those are going to be the fans that are impassioned. That, dude, you probably broke a guy's brain, and now he's got to go and try to figure out, like, the 5 years of his film school, what he can do. It's like, well, I learned all these rules, and then you're just like, no, sure, there's rules, but there's also rules once you understand them, or fuck it, who cares? Break them and see what happens. And then, you're going to go through a little bit of trial and tribulation. You're going to figure out what works best for you, but at that same point, you're going to do it your way, which a lot of the times is greater than anything else.
A lot of the time, we would say, how would Hollywood do it? And
Yeah.
then we'd go, let's do it the other way.
Yeah, and you see how it works out. If it doesn't work out, okay, but if you come up with something special, now you've got something of your own, and then you can take that on to do bigger things or better things or other things. It doesn't even have to be bigger or better. It's just however which way you want your art to go.
Yeah, it's your own thing. That's what matters, right? It's you're doing your own thing. It has nothing to do with what anybody else is doing. So, yeah, that's awesome.
And out of all of the places that you've traveled, what's the I don't want to say the most interesting place, because I don't want you to you don't need to bag on any other places, but the I guess the most fun experience having traveled for this movie, aside from the dude just coming out and you broke his brain with that one. Do you have a place that you're just like, I'm so happy that we were able to go here, which might not have been a traditional spot?
We do a lot of non-traditional shows, period. So
Okay.
Everything we schedule, we try to put a little theme behind it.
Mhm.
We don't just want people to come and see a movie. They're going to come have an experience.
Nice.
And we've played in colleges. We just played in Denver. I have a buddy who has a mobile marijuana lounge bus with 18 screens, an insane sound system, and we just played the movie in there, and people's minds were fucking blown inside that bus.
Funny.
They walked out of there. They
Jesus
didn't even know what to do
Christ.
with themselves.
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, I've seen the movie hundreds of times, and even for me,
Not in a hot box
watching it
bus.
in that place was a different experience. And I was
God,
like,
right.
whoa, that was a blast. I've done a couple of hometown shows. John got to do a hometown show in Chicago.
Oh, fun. God, I love Chicago.
Yeah, we've played Florida, Arizona. I love playing. I love all the experiences because they're all special regardless to me. It's just fun, and it's cool to share that. And even on this tour, like looking at the whole tour, I've never been to any of the venues, but I always look at pictures beforehand and get the feel. And what I love about this little tour is every one of the theaters on this tour has that really cool art house look.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Blue Mouse is beautiful because at least once a month they'll do like Rocky Horror Picture Show at midnight, and which is fantastic. But they also do the Friday Night Frights, and it was literally the first time I'd ever been able to see Beetlejuice in a theater. And again, it's with like-minded people,
That's
people
awesome.
dressing up, and one lady dressing up as Lydia from the final wedding scene, doing the Thriller dance. For the whole song, which was really long. You don't realize how long it is, but it was really fun to be able to see her doing
It's funny
all
that you brought that up because I was driving last night and I got up to Portland and we're playing the Clinton Street Theater in Portland on May the 5th, a week from today, actually.
Yeah.
And it's such a cool it's like sitting right in the middle of a neighborhood. They actually have the longest running Rocky Horror Picture Show midnight in the world, I
That
believe.
doesn't even
Yeah.
surprise me. Yeah.
And so, so that theater has this cool look. The Blue Mouse has a cool look. The Garland Theater in Spokane, the Rio in Vancouver, the Dark Side in Corvallis.
Nice
The Pickford in Bellingham. So, like, I'm so psyched about this tour and to just experience it in all these houses.
And so, like I said before, as of this recording, May 10th is when you're going to be at the Blue Mouse Theater, checking it all out. You're going to be there doing Q&A afterwards as well.
Yes.
So it'll be fun. So when you break people's brains, you can help them put it back together again. It's really exciting to see this, and I love the fact that there's a Tacoma base on it. You've got the Grit City, just the vibe with it all, with all of it. It's had to have been a fun ride.
Are you gonna go, Justin?
I'm gonna go. I'm like, it's a Friday, and I think I'm open. I'm pretty
I
sure.
know. I'm
good.
into. What about you?
10 o'clock at night.
I know, right?
I mean,
no.
movie's going to be ending at midnight. People's
be
brains are going to be splattered
fine.
all over the Blue Mouse. You're not going to want to miss this.
right.
And then we can all grab a beer together after.
Perfect.
Come hang out with us. Everybody should hang out with us. Because, no, truly, we love to hang out after. We always love to. People love to talk about it. And they have
Nice.
so many questions when it's over.
And that's
You know.
and that's the fun part too.
It usually takes people about 5 minutes to be able to talk after the movie, and then once they're
Processing.
able to like actually open their mouths, they got a lot of questions.
And that's one of the beauties of this too, because if you see this movie, you can either hang out and have a beer and process, or if it takes you a little longer to process, you can hit you up on social media, on the Instagram, and just obviously don't do any spoilers or anything, but maybe DM. Give a follow, give a DM, follow the live streams and all of that. Where can people find out more information about the movie?
Our Instagram handle is at Once Upon a Superhero the movie. Facebook, we're Once Upon a Superhero. Twitter, Once Upon a Superhero. And onceuponasuperhero.com.
Nice, perfect. And I mean, we'll put up all of these
And
on
of course,
ours.
you guys can get tickets at the Blue Mouse website.
Yes, BlueMouseTheater.com.
And, tickets will be available at the door as well. It's $8 for the show.
Nice. A nice little. I mean, it's cheaper than any other movies in the big budget ones that you're going to be seeing lately. That's for damn sure. Whew. Plus, I got good popcorn in there too.
I'm in. Are you in, Jeff?
I'm in.
You fucking better say
you
you're
better
in.
be in, Jeff.
I'll have Solar Flare come and throw all three of you in a bag and bring it over. Well, first of all, you guys are my comp guests, so I hope you're there. So please make sure you're down there.
Nice.
okay?
See, that's why we had you on.
So you guys are all +1 with us.
Killer, man. And like seriously, it's like if you love the superhero genre, well, I don't know how much this is going to turn it on its head, but at the same point,
You might not want to watch this, but no.
but no, you need to come
You
and check
should
this
come
out
watch it,
because
right.
there are those big bombastic movies out there. You want something with a little bit of grit.
Do people need to go watch the trailer? The trailer is fantastic. It sold me as soon as I watched it. I was
Absolutely.
like, dude, I'm in. I don't care when it is or where it shows. I'm watching this thing. So
Yeah,
I
and we're
just
fortunate enough for you guys to be here to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Like this is one of those ones where you want to be in a theater with like-minded individuals.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
And look at it this way: it's happening on a Friday night, so you'll have all day Saturday to recover your brain.
I love it. I love it. Scott Weil with this onceuponasuperhero.com where you can get all of the information, all the social media, and of course with all of our stuff. We put it right on this podcast. So if wherever you're downloading it, boom, you can just get all of the links right there. Also, if you want to help us out, patreon.com/GritCityPodcast.
Go there.
Yeah, help us. You can get your merch. You can get those sweet T-shirts or the hoodies. Or maybe if you want to be a business that wants to get promoted, you can do that as well.
Yeah, we got some stickers as well now.
Oh, we got
shit.
stickers from diecutstickers.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing with EJ and all of those people. So absolutely check all of that out. Also, anything else? I don't think so, right?
No.
No. I know you need another beer. So I think it's time for us to end
I
this.
gotta
all
say,
right
I
there.
really like this Coco Jones.
That's a
This
good
is
one, right?
good
That's a
fucking
local
beer.
Washington beer.
Oh man, I like
Which
this.
one
Says
was
on the
that?
back.
This is
Oh,
Black Raven Coco Jones Coconut Porter.
nice.
I'm not usually a fan of the dark ones, but this one is fucking
Whoa,
good.
whoa! This
Digging
is
it.
a family podcast.
Dark beer.
Take it down.
Get
And
in
on that
trouble.
note, Scott Weil, thank you so much for coming down. Again, thank you everybody for listening, and please continue to support local stuff. If you want anybody to get a hold of us because you think there's something cool, something weird, something crazy about them, they're local or at least have some sort of local tie to the Grit City, shoot us an email, info@gritcitypodcast.com.
Yes.
Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome.
And thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much.